it finally happened all. It finally happened. Fantasy Flight Games has sent me some preview cards for the new Magneto Hero Pack that's coming out real soon, like real soon. So get ready for that. They sent me images of two cards. We're going to go through them. We're going to talk a little bit about them. One of them I'm super hyped for, right? I'm super hyped that they're giving us this card. I think it's really amazing. The other one, I'm not gonna lie, I thought they were trolling me a little bit. I thought for just like a split second, I thought they were kind of like, hey, we watch D20 streams a lot and we watch his content and we know that this would be really funny. And surely this isn't a real card that would be put out there. But it is. And actually, the more I think about it, the more I actually kind of like the card. I think it's interesting in what they're doing. And so we're gonna take a look at both these cards. I'm super hyped. I'm super thankful that we finally got to do this on this channel. I think this is really exciting and really cool. So let's go check out some cards. The first one's a big one. The White Queen Emma Frost was a hero I won in this game. Now, I'm still on Team Mystique, but I thought getting Emma Frost would be really, really cool. It'd be really fun. I know it's a hero that a lot of people want to see, and we might not get that, but we do get her as a basic ally. So, White Queen Emma Frost, 3-cost ally, 2 threat, 1 attack, 1 consequential for each of those things, 3 life. She's psionic and X-Men, and play only if your identity has the X-Force or X-Men trait, which is nice, right? We've talked about this before on the channel, that hopefully they keep supporting the X-Force box, right? More and more content to support that, I think would be really good. So it's not like on a weird island by itself, and especially if there's a lot of new players coming into the game that are investing in the X-Men wave, like especially the first and third wave, and they want more synergy from those cards to go into the X-Force cards, so it feels like it's, together. Anything that helps do that, I'm really a big fan of. So I'm happy she will work with both those identities. I think that's really cool. So she has a response. After White Queen enters play, discard a status card from a character. This is massive. So there's so many times in this game where I just exhaust to like attack so I can clear a stun, or I exhaust to thwart so I can remove a confuse, or I play a really cheap event to get rid of a status card, right? Like, how many times have we done that? And the fact that now we could put in White Queen, 2 threat removal at 3 costs with 3 life is nothing to like, snub your nose at. Like, that's a decent stat line. The 1 attack is, a little bit on the lower side, but I'm always looking for more thwarting ability on a lot of my allies. Maybe that's just how I'm playing nowadays. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're looking for more attack, which would be interesting. But I feel like a lot of the X-Men allies have decent attack. Looking at you, Wolverine. So that's always really nice that you can do. The other half of this is that it's from a character, which is kind of massive, right? So how many times have you been playing the game where you have to ping a tough off of either a minion, right? Or an elite minion, or the villain? Well, now when she comes in, just take it off just like that. And that's what's so cool about this. So again, after White Queen enters play, discard a status card from a character, right? It's not just you. It's not just your allies. It's not just your teammates, which you could help out with in a multiplayer game as well. It is also the villain. It's also the minions on the table. It's really cool how they worded that. I'm actually really excited for that, because I feel like there's certain parts of the game where there's a lot of tough status cards, right? There's a lot of status cards being put out. And anything to kind of help us get around that, I'm a big fan of. And it's just, she's a decent card to begin with. Like, a 2/1/3 stat line for 3 costs is like fine, right? It's nothing amazing, but it's fine. But I think that response is really good, especially when you're dealing with certain villains or certain minions that have tough statuses, or are just stun locking you and confuse locking you, whatever it may be, or to your allies. So I think she does really well in a variety of situations, which is really cool. So I'm a really big fan of this card. But again, we get Emma Frost, which is just nice. So we gotta get on the second card. Here's the thing with the second card. When I first saw this, I laughed out loud. And I thought, there's no shot this card's real. There's no shot this card's real. And it must be, like I said, Fantasy Flight Games must be fans of this channel or something to give me this card, because it's hilarious and I love it. But the next one we got to talk about is a 0-cost event, Face the Past. Max 1 per deck. It's a hero action, so it cannot be done on your alter ego side, only your hero side. Search the encounter deck, discard pile, and set aside area for your nemesis minion and reveal it. Because sometimes you don't draw Shadow of the Past enough, right? Sometimes you're playing the game like me and, hey, I haven't drawn Shadow in the past in a turn or two. How else could I get my Nemesis minion into play? Well, now I have another way to do it. Now I have another way to get that Nemesis out there. So you get to search for that Nemesis minion and reveal it, not put into play. So if they have any things that trigger off of revealing. That's important to know. Then it's a cost arrow. So you have to do everything in the beginning to do the rest of this. So if hypothetically your Nemesis minion was like face down the table because it was like an encounter card or something, this would not work and it would not do anything else. That's important to know. You get to ready your hero and draw 3 cards. Sweet. Amazing. You cannot attack the villain this phase, and then you remove this card from the game, which is pretty interesting, right? So it doesn't allow you to set up a big finish at the end, right? I mean, I guess you could theoretically, if you had like remove a lot of threat that's out there, but the fact that you cannot attack the villain, I think is really interesting. So it almost leads me to believe that this is more of like a set up card, and they want you to do this earlier so that you're able to, okay, if I have a support or 2 in my hand I want to play, or I need to get another support or 2, we start pulling this card out, right? We pull this card out, we deal with a Nemesis minion, it kind of knocks them out of the side, and then, you know, we see if we got them back in or whatnot through Shadow of the Past or whatever it may be. So I think that's kind of interesting how they're doing it. Again, allowing you to ready your hero. Theoretically, I believe, and you can rule check me on this, you could still attack and then play this card, and then you'll be good to go, right? Because you cannot attack the villain this phase. I don't think that would retroactively like work. So as long as you could do something like ready your hero or draw 3 cards or remove the card from the game, then it doesn't really matter. You just do as much after the arrow as you can. So it just, after you play this card, you can't attack anymore. So you can attack early on and then do all this stuff on this card. It's also interesting because it will remove the card from the game, which will thin out your deck. Yes, it's only 1 card, but that actually can make a difference sometime, especially if you run it with player side schemes as well. And the player side schemes are helping to run out your deck also. That is a card that could be doing that. So I think it's an interesting card. I don't know. I feel like the way I would use it is more early on, right? I would use it as like, okay, I'm in my early or mid build out phase where it's like, I need to get like the final few things. I just need to start cranking either through resources or I need to crank through my deck to get a certain card. That's when I would deal with this. It's also maybe not terrible that if you are, setting up your final push and you already got Shadow of the Past, let's say, right? So you dealt with the Nemesis minion, it's discarded, but the enemy is about to flip the deck back over, put an acceleration token back on, right? About to, you know, change the deck from discard to all draw again. So I feel like one of the things that could be interesting with this is, I don't know how many times this happened to you all, but occasionally I'll make a final push and then I'll have to split my push into 2 rounds, which is always rough. And of course, then my Nemesis minion comes back out. And this could be a way to kind of delay your push a round or 2, but get rid of your Nemesis in the hopes that it's not going to affect your gameplay later on, right? Because again, when you make that final push at the end, you want nothing to get in the way. You want to just go, 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 go and crush it. So this could be an interesting way of doing that as well to kind of, again, set up your board state. It feels more of like a setup card than a big like push at the end card, which is kind of how I would use it. So yeah, drawing 3 cards, readying your hero, I think that's all fine. Not being able to attack the villain in the face, I think that's all right. I don't think that's terrible, but it does stop it from being like a final push card at the very end of the game, unless you're doing a situation where you have to like remove a bunch of threat, right? Like that's your objective, then that's completely fine. And then again, removing the card from the game, I think it's interesting that you would only be able to use it once, but it thins out your deck, which could help with a lot of different options for your deck. So once again, I want to thank Fantasy Flight Games for sending these over to me. I really appreciate it. I think it's really cool that we get to do this. I think it's hilarious, the cards that they sent me. It's amazing, but do me a huge favor, go down to the comments while you're going down, make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let me know your thoughts. How are you looking at White Queen, Emma Frost? What's kind of going through your mind? What do you think will work well? What do you think it will do? What are you thinking with that card? And then Face the Past. I want to know if there's any triggers or combos you can think of with pulling a Nemesis minion in and having it trigger something else to really help you out. Let me know your thoughts down below. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you once again, FFG, for saying this, and I will see you all next time.